to the overview. My name is Michele Clifton. I'm account manager for Overbury. I'm delighted to be joined by Matt Phelan. Matt is head of global happiness and co-founder of the Happiness Index. He's also author of the Freedom to be Happy. Hi, Matt.
Hey, Michelle. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm very, very excited to be here with you today.
Well, I'm excited to have you on. Thanks for joining us. Matt, would you like to tell us a bit about yourself and about Happiness Index?
The Happiness Index is an employee happiness platform. It's a way of visualizing a culture in an organization and how everyone feels. But I'm very conscious that we have to practice what we preach. Like, we can't be a company that talks about happiness and then have loads of burnt out employees, everyone hating it where we work and so on and so on. So I've just had 2 days off to just recharge the batteries after lockdown of homeschooling. So you're probably getting me, hopefully I'm looking refreshed and happy, because I feel recharged after a couple of days, Michelle.
Great, glad to hear it, Matt. I've got some questions for you, so I hope you're in the zone.
I hope we'll find out, won't we?
Good. Matt, I mentioned creating amazing environments, and from our point of view, the power of a balanced workplace is really important, and we see many benefits for employees and businesses. And I just wondered if you could tell us a bit about your research and what that says about the importance of well-being and a happy workplace.
Yeah, so I think that the reason I'm really excited about coming on, Michelle, is the fact that you talk about the balanced workplace. And one of the problems with research and data, and that's my area, is that people swing all the way one way depending on what's in fashion.
Yes.
And I think that's part of the problem. Like, if you spoke to people 6 months ago, everyone was going to work from home for the rest of their lives and never leave the house. And then before that, there was no such thing. People were like mistrusting of work from home. Now people are swinging back the other way, can't wait to get back into the office, and so on and so on. If we just forget for a minute that most language thinks as home is where you sleep and be, and work is where you go and do the hard stuff. But I think whether you're going back to an office or not back to the office, or whatever the environment is that you're imagining in your head, it is your home.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that's the place that you live, but it's still your home, which is why, you know, when people they introduced like work from any desk. I've introduced that before, thinking that will work. Everyone still goes to the same desk.
Yes, absolutely.
When I played football, I wanted to get changed in the same spot all the time. That's what happens if you watch any kind of sports team. Yeah. You gravitate to your space, and that's because we're human beings, and the first thing that we need in our home is safety. Design and environment, if you think about it from a home perspective, they are the foundations of performance, because at that bottom foundation is safety, security. Like, yes, an office, like the first one in Maslow, is like shelter, isn't it? Like the roof over your head.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it should do that. Like, if it's raining, it's probably a good idea that you can seek shelter. But then you're moving up and up and up, and it's all those other bits. So I would look at design and offices as the foundation for all of this stuff. It's what it's built on,
Right.
And that's why flexibility is required. Because myself, I do a lot of walking meetings, so I need to be able to go for a walk, and so on and so on. So if I was having an office just for me, location near somewhere I could go for a walk would be important.
Yeah.
But for someone else, they might prefer to be able to have like a place where they could just go out and sit, like on a balcony, and do and draw, as an example. But I'm someone who needs to be on the move. There's other people who might need somewhere quiet to go, and so on. So I'm trying to bring together a few points there, Michelle, but does that help?
It really does. And in a way, for me, it summarizes the balanced workplace, because we're providing choice, because some people will want to focus in a quiet room. Other people will want to be collaborating. So that, to me, really summarizes it all. So yeah, thanks for that. That really helped.
And I think, can I just add to that, Michelle, I think this is what happened with the open plan office, which is we had lots of people like working in pod offices, and then it became really fashionable to have open plan offices. And open plan offices works for certain people. It works for me because I'm quite a social person. But one thing that we observed in our data in lockdown is that some of the people in engineering type roles actually became happier because they didn't have to put up with people like me talking loudly near their desk.
Yeah.
And so on and so on. So I think it's the fashion versus style statement, isn't it? Like style stays forever, fashion changes. And I think when it comes to office environment, what we need as human beings is permanent. Like all those things is permanent. But in and out of fashion comes like cubicle offices, corner offices, open plan. And then we don't want to flip all the way to the other where we all have our own like COVID secure spacesuits that we're all in.
God forbid.
You can imagine flipping it all that way and so on. So that's why I agreed to come on, because I love the word balance.
Great. And I have one last question for you.
Yeah.
I'm actually in the process of reading your book, enjoying it very much.
Thank you.
Because I'm really interested in the concept of, freedom to be happy, because I think in many ways it relates a lot to the culture of the organization. So when I speak to my clients, there's a lot that resonates with me. Can you talk about culture and how important that is in applying freedom in an organization?
So in terms of culture and happiness and so on, the number one thing that is important in that piece, in our data, so this comes from about 500,000 employees, is relationships.
Right.
So again, when we talk about the office and the environment, the way that I look at the world, knowing that data and knowing the pandemic that we've just come through, when I think about office, but as I say, I call that work home in my weird language. If I'm looking at an office, I think, how would I best design this space for relationships to flourish?
Yes.
Because what I used to do, I will never do again. I used to go to work and I would do my work at my desk, and then I would go into meeting rooms to do my relationship stuff. But now it's flipped. In my head, it's flipped, because behind me is my work desk. I can do that stuff. I'm in a tiny room here. I can do the actual sitting on my laptop stuff anywhere now. That's the beauty of it. I can do that anywhere. But I need to come to a space to consistently work on stuff with relationships and so on. So I think what the pandemic has done is just really helped us revisit what is that office home thing for? Yes. Because over time, we've got into the habit of, you go there and you do your work at your desk, your emails and that kind of stuff, but you can do that anywhere now, and that's what's been proved. Yeah. But the relationship bit, I think that's what's beautiful about human beings and life, isn't it? Like, that's
what we're missing. Out of all of this, there's one thing we're missing, is that social contact and that, socializing with our peers, definitely. Again,
I just think when it comes back to our session and Freedom to Be Happy, the book and everything, is to think about design and office from a relationship perspective, which I know is a slightly different way of looking at it. But I think if you start from that perspective, then you can roll back into all the other stuff, like what does it look like? What ergonomics should we build in, and all that kind of stuff that Overbury, you guys are experts at, and I'm not.
No, I mean, Matt, I could talk to you for hours about this, because I'm really passionate about this. So hopefully this is the beginning of another conversation we can have about, all of that, but in more detail. But thank you so much for your time. It's been really, really, really interesting.
No, I can't wait to continue the conversation, Michelle.
Thank you, Matt.